Welcome back to another fabulous episode of the Packaging Experience. And always with me, Tom.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we should let other people tell us it's fabulous. I love it, but I might be slightly biased. Yeah, it's good to be back. What episode is this? Is this 6, 7?
7.
Episode 7. We're getting there.
Yeah.
I can't wait. We're gonna have the party for triple digits for sure.
Yeah, this is great. This is good news. And today we're going to be jumping into a conversation that kind of affects us all: fresh versus frozen, frozen vegetables, really, and which are healthier. So pour yourself a cup of Joe, kick your shoes off, and let's get into it.
Let's go.
I think you got something on your plate.
I do, and it's a Hawaiian pizza slice is what is on my plate, and they're delicious. And you know why they're delicious? No, because it's got pineapple on it, Jeff. And that's the debate for today: is pineapple on pizza. What? And you don't like it, and how can you say no?
Whenever you're eating pizza, it's supposed to have not a sweet taste. So like, even if the red sauce is sweet, it will not taste good to me for some reason. I don't know. I'm always just been jalapenos, pepperoni, cheese, give me some ranch, and we're going to walk away with that. I just cannot figure out how to have pineapple on my pizza.
Yeah. So here's where I disagree, right? Well, first of all, I don't think I've had a pizza that I didn't like, so I'll take all comers. When it comes to pizza, I mean, it's dough and marinara sauce and, well, not always. Sometimes it's white sauce. But yeah, I haven't really had a piece of pizza that I didn't like, except for anchovies. I'm not in with the anchovies. But I do like the juxtaposition of the savory of pizza with the sweet. It's also like you see those trends where there's like chocolate covered bacon. I don't know if you've ever had that, but it's amazing. It's kind of a nice counterbalance to all that savory goodness of the pizza to get a little bit of sweet on there, especially with like when you're talking Hawaiian with the ham. Really good. So it's not something that every time I get pizza, I get Hawaiian pizza, but if somebody brings a Hawaiian pizza, am I going to eat it? Oh yeah. And I'll like it. And sometimes I think, man, I should order Hawaiian pizza more often.
Yeah. And so do you eat pineapple just by itself then too as well?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Like when you get those mixed fruit things in the rigid container and there's like pineapple and all those, I'm picking out the pineapple first.
That's me.
I mean, it's crazy sugar.
Yeah. No, I love it so much, but for some reason I just cannot get to that point of having it on a pizza. I'll try it next time. I'm going to give it another shot. That's what I'm going to do. And we'll record it and we will put it on our YouTube channel of Jeff and Tom pushing their pizzas into their faces with pineapple on it.
Nobody wants to see me. It's Jeff, I'm pretty sure. We grew a pineapple, but then it fell over and the squirrels ate it. So that was, we were talking last episode about a $70 watermelon. That was a $70 nothing burger. We didn't even get to eat it. And it wasn't $70, but they're pretty easy to grow, actually. You just lop the top off of your pineapple if you get them whole, and then you plant that, and then you get another pineapple. It's crazy. Food creates more food. It's bananas. No pun intended.
Yeah, no pun intended. I was just going to say that. That's so funny. That was great. So what else do you grow out there besides watermelon?
The watermelon... No, I'm sorry. The watermelon would do pumpkins, broccoli, tomatoes. Tomatoes are the easiest. I love tomatoes, and you get a lot of yield. Carrots and herbs and spices, right? Your own cilantro, parsley, thyme, and that stuff grows like a weed, so it doesn't really take much. And then some succulents, like, I don't know. Oh, yeah, you can see right there is an aloe plant. Again, it's something you need for Florida because when you get sunburned, you just pick off that thing and you rub it all over your face. You're like, I can't believe I didn't put sunscreen on. I've only lived here 40 years. So
yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, you're fair skinned and like redheaded, so the sun and you probably don't get along. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, vitamin D is the best. It's so good for you. But at the same time, you just got to be careful in Florida. And it's those days where you're not paying attention that really get you, right? Everybody knows in August, like let's say May through August, yeah, I'm putting on SPF 30, water resistance, and I'm good. But it's like those sneaky days in November where it's cloudy and you're like, it's November, it's cloudy, I'm good. And you're outside for 5 hours and then you come in and you're just rocked. And you're like, oh my goodness. And then typically as soon as I get sunburned, I like go sleep for 4 hours because it kicks your butt.
Completely dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin D just did not absorb into my body anymore because I'm just sunburned. I'm just like, I didn't even win this round.
Exactly. So yeah, that's my thought on, we kind of spun out of control there, but that's my thought on pineapple on pizza. I'm all for it. It's not my number one preference, but it does taste good. Where Jeff is in camp, no pineapple on pizza. And this will be a debate that will go on through history.
For sure.
Because pizza's never getting discontinued, ever.
Never.
It's the best.
Ever. It really is. And that kind of goes for you guys as viewers. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. Are you a pineapple and pizza type person? Or are you a pizza with no pineapple? And basically, you'll just be one for Tom or one for Jeff. And that's what we'll start keeping score as. So, but
I plan on losing this battle.
So let's jump into our topic today, which is basically fresh fruit and vegetables versus frozen. And again, what is healthier? Like, which are healthier? And that's kind of what we're going to dive into today is basically, so fresh fruits and vegetables are some of the healthiest foods that we eat. And that's kind of the topics that and questions that people kind of come across is, Jeff and Tom, do I eat fresh or do I eat frozen? And so both are full of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, all of which can improve your health. And so why not have a category of both? So eating more fruits and vegetables can help protect against heart disease. That was one thing that Tom talked about last episode is things that are bad for the heart, bad for just the stomach, the body in general, and just about being healthier in general. So fresh produce may not always be available though. And the reason why is because of how bad it goes quickly or the traveling aspect of it. And frozen varieties are more or less the convenient alternative because, I mean, me personally, the way that I look at it is if I go buy fruits and vegetables that are just from not frozen, how long can they stay in your refrigerator for? It turns out they don't last that long anyways.
Yeah, no doubt. Like, how about avocado, right? It's like avocado, it's too hard, it's too hard, it's too hard. And then on the fourth day, you come back and it's black and disgusting. You're like, what was the time frame there? Did I have 20 minutes to eat that avocado before it went from not ripe enough to overripe? Bananas, same thing, right? Bananas, you like get them home and they're green, and then you come home from work one day and they're black, and you're like, well, I guess we're having banana bread again, So
it's like exactly. Yeah, and that avocado thing is true. It's like, what timeline was I on? And did I go through a black hole? I mean, why was it so hard one day and then I went to go cut it open the next, and now I'm just like, God, I really want to throw this away.
Yeah. To quote Van Halen, I don't feel tardy, right? And Hot for Teacher videos, just but like like it was not ripe yesterday, and now it is completely ruined. So
rest in peace, the legend there.
Yeah. Eddie Van Halen. But his son is killing it. Wolfgang Van Halen. Funny story. I tried to convince my wife to name our son Wolfgang, and she was having none of it. I was like, how cool of a German name is Wolfgang Hallenstein? For sure. She's and like, no, that's not
There's a professional chef out there as well.
Wolfgang Hallenstein?
Yeah.
Oh, Wolfgang Puck. Yeah.
Puck, yeah, not the last name, sorry.
Yeah, I was like, what?
You're like, what?
So, yeah, she did not approve of that. And thankfully, she got her way. So, good.
That's the best story I heard on this podcast.
As per usual.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was a good, hard left turn, and I am so thankful for it.
Yeah. Just because I brought up that I don't feel tardy from Eddie Van Halen, we went off the rails pretty quickly there. So, my bad. I'll try to stay on task, but, it's like a beautiful mind in here. It's going in all directions at the same time. So, bear with me.
That's all right. So, I just know that you had your caffeine today, so we're good.
Always caffeine. Always. So anyway, what were we talking about? Fruits and vegetables? Yeah, let's get back to that.
Yeah, so basically just like the nutritional value may differ, right? And so the reason why it may differ is because of how it was picked before they were ripe, how fruits and vegetables before they are frozen, how they are transferred. Whenever they are transferred, meaning transportation, they lose a lot of value in just in that time process. So it doesn't necessarily, sometimes it does, but it doesn't necessarily give it enough time to, for example, let's say that someone is picking fruits and vegetables. They pick it out of there and they go to transport it. They put it in the truck. It is a long time, but it's also not at the same time. And let me explain that. It's not a long time because fruits and vegetables, after they get done being picked from being ripe, it needs time to gather its nutrients, to grow those nutrients, and to realistically just expand in general. So basically, just to develop a full range of vitamins, minerals, and a lot of natural antioxidants. And so in the US, fruits and vegetables may spend anywhere from 3 days to several weeks in transit. So it doesn't seem like a long time, but it really is at the same time, depending on how you're looking at it. So, and during transportation, fresh produce is generally stored in chilled areas, non-chilled areas, etc. And that kind of prevents the food from spoiling. And they also use some types of chemicals as well. Um, Nothing you should worry about, of course, just because it's something that is preventing, it's not inherently going to be digested. Our body, if it recognizes it, and sometimes we secrete it through urine or sweating it out anyways. And it's not something that's going to be, something that you should worry. So,
Gotcha. Gotcha. I'm learning a lot today from our nutritional expert, Jeff.
yeah.
Why don't you tell us about your background? Like, how do you know all this stuff?
So I've spent 7-10 years in nutrition science, nutrition dietetics. I have a lot of background in that. I've worked in places where I have to help people with diabetes. I've had to help work with people that just need a nutritional care and assistance in general. And yeah, I love it. And when Tom asked me to, whenever I found Tom and we came here, it correlates. And I'm very, again, it just kind of circles back around to how we can help the environment, how we can help people. And yeah, that's a little bit of my background and nothing crazy, but it's something that I do seriously enjoy. And that's kind of why Tom asked me to take over this side of the podcast because fruits and vegetables, frozen or non-frozen, it is something that we're going to be eating and having every day of our lives. And the majority of the time, and a lot of the time, you are making that ultimate decision to, do I need fresh? Do I need frozen? And is it really helping the environment if I choose frozen? And quite frankly, the short answer is yes. Like you should be having a variety of both. Me personally, as coming back from a nutrition background, I personally like to have fresh, but I also like to have frozen for things like soups. Something that I planned out maybe 3 days from now. If hey, I'm gonna buy groceries on Monday, I'm gonna have steak on Thursday. Well, I'm not gonna buy vegetables, fresh vegetables for there. I'm gonna buy frozen vegetables, and that's where that stuff comes in handy. Is being able to plan out your days, but also to preserve the food, keep it for longer durations. And that's personally my take. I don't know about you, Tom, or do you like? What do you like to choose?
Well, yeah, we do a mix of both for sure. We love fresh produce. There's a place called Detweiler's and they have multiple locations, in the Sarasota Bradenton area. And they're a bunch of Amish farmers and their fresh produce is really affordable and they have some amazing deals like, like asparagus stalks like this thick sometimes.
Beautiful.
So like whatever they have going on and they have a great, meat and seafood department as well. So I really like shopping there for fresh, but we need to have a combination of both for certain things. Like my son, he needs to gain weight by his doctor. So we make him smoothies every night. So,
Sweet.
frozen fruit is awesome. We'll do,
Yeah.
frozen grapes and stuff like that. And then I'll put like a couple big teaspoons of peanut butter in there, make like a PB&J smoothie and with like like a vanilla or a chocolate protein. And he loves those things. So that's great. And then also, we buy a lot of the product and the packaging that we make, like, where it's a big master bag of, let's say broccoli or, like a spring medley or a California medley, which is carrots and broccoli and cauliflower. And they're steam bags, right? We talked about recycled steam. We love those things because not every day works out the plan. As much as I would love to say 100% of the time, we're all sitting down to a family dinner of fresh ingredients. There are days, and parents can relate to this, where it's just like, oh, she's got practice. He's got a video game conference or something going on and we just have no time. So taking one of those steam bags, throwing it in there for 5 minutes to go along with your protein or whatever you have is just super convenient. And to your point, with, the shelf life and the longevity, we were kind of dogging on avocados and bananas earlier. I mean, what are you getting in the freezer? 2 years? I mean, it's just nice not That's the biggest deal with fresh is it's usually more expensive than frozen. And you're throwing it away a lot. And it's just, that's a hard pill to swallow when you're just, I feel like you're burning cash, and that's not fun.
Yeah, and to circle back around to what you were talking about, like frozen in my eyes holds more nutrients, and that's kind of the key. It's like it's always about the nutrients. You know what I mean? And the reason why I would say fresh versus frozen, and frozen is better in this case, is because there's a process that's called, I think it's called flash frozen, and what that is where it's a way for the fruits and vegetables to be lock in those vitamins and minerals. And so, me personally, whenever I buy frozen, we buy frozen for the house, I always think about those things. Like, man, I can have the same nutrients as I would have over here that's fresh. So, again, like you said, it's a hard pill to swallow because I'm over here throwing away fresh fruit or vegetables because it decayed or went bad or wilted. And I still have all this stuff in the freezer. And it's been 2 years and it still holds that nutrient density for up to that 2 years, which is insane. Like, just think about that for a second. That's insane.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of our customers, that's what they do is they sell like IQF, individual quick frozen products. And, when I go to some of our grower/packers down in Mexico, I mean, they're just surrounded by farms. So you're talking like 6 or 7 days in transit. I mean, they have like a rail spur and it'll just come in there. And then they just have people, obviously they're cleaning up the food like they have a bunch of workers that are cleaning up the food, looking for worms or pests or, defects and stuff like that, or cleaning off the leaves. And then it goes right into that individual quick frozen where they'll like blanch it first with like super high temperatures to kill off any type of, pests or anything like that. And then it goes right into the freezer. So you're just trapping all those nutrients in where, if you've been to a storm cellar or if you have a doomsday prepper, right, they have a bunch of aluminum cans of stuff like that. Retort, when you're cooking it in, kills all the nutrients, right? So if you have a retort like green beans in a can or any type of vegetable in a can that's been cooked in that can, that's called retort. It's cooked for like 4 hours or 5 hours at 400 degrees to make sure that there's no bugs in there that when you eat it, you get sick. But cooking out the bugs at the same time, you're cooking out all the nutrients. So when you look at retort versus, frozen, it's a no-brainer from a nutritional density standpoint. So if you want long shelf life and nutrients, frozen is the way to go. And I mean, go to Costco, go to anywhere like one of those big box stores, and they have coffin freezers. If you have room in your garage, you can just stock up on that stuff because obviously your in-home freezer has a finite amount of space, but buy a coffin freezer. And you can put a ton of stuff in there. You can buy meat in bulk or whatever, but it's a great way to stock up on vegetables, that are frozen and have them forever, basically.
Absolutely. And I kind of wanted to hit on that blanching process that you were talking about. That's the greatest loss of nutrients. So just that's for the fresh fruits and vegetables. And that's crazy to me. So usually there's no chemicals added to the frozen aspect of it, which is even better. So whenever I know it sounds like, well, Jeff and Tom, why are you trying to scare us away from fresh? That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're trying to enlighten you about a better option. And yeah.
No, and to that point, our company, like obviously Freedom Packaging, we sell a lot of packaging into that frozen environment. So, I don't, just full disclosure, yes, we profit off of the frozen fruit industry for sure. But our sister company, Apcon, does fresh, and they do a lot of clamshells for some of the biggest fruit and berry growers on the planet. So we're, financially gaining from both. So we don't really have an axe to grind. And that's why I think, Jeff, you and I both said we'd use a combination of both. I'm not saying only buy frozen or only buy fresh, and we're not dogging on fresh. I love fresh fruit. I'm from South Jersey. Like when corn comes in August, it's the best corn on the planet. The tomatoes in South Jersey are insane. But at the same time, it makes sense to do both. And especially the point of this podcast, I think, is if your hang up is that you think that you don't get the nutrients from frozen that you get from fresh, that's wrong. With the hyperinflation that we have had on food over the last year and a half, that's a great way to, like we said, stop burning those dollars on fresh and save money, right? It's like, well, usually I like fresh bananas in my smoothie, but you know what? Buy a bag of like 32-ounce sliced bananas that are frozen. It'll last for 2 years. You're not dumping any bananas out or forced to make your 15th loaf of banana bread this year because it's gone completely black, So that's the idea. Is like it's nutrient dense, and it lasts forever, and you're not going to throw it out. It's good for you, and it's just kind of part of our mantra.
So yeah, let's talk about convenience now. Kind of basically talking about. I'm going to piggyback off of what you were just saying, and that's the convenience of it. And I don't know about you, but I'm guilty of buying fresh veggies in the best of intentions, and realistically, only to find out that they're wilting away. And so that's why frozen produce, though, you can toss it in the freezer and it'll last for months. And that's kind of the idea. Like for me, whenever I go to Costco, I get huge bags of frozen mixed fruits, so I can put them in my smoothies. I can put them in my overnight oats. And then vegetables. We have broccoli, cauliflower, carrots. I have all of this stuff that I can just keep in the freezer and it stays there a long time. And when you think about cost, like frozen produce can actually be more affordable in the long run. And that's kind of what you were just talking about right now is, if you're just constantly throwing away food, you're forcing us to grow food faster versus where you're getting stuff frozen. You can kind of cut that time in a lot of areas for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I look at it whenever I'm buying frozen. I'm not just buying it because it tastes good, it has lots of nutrients, or whatever the case may be. I'm also looking at it as a way to help society in a way, cutting back on a few things. And so now here we have, this is where packaging comes into play. Excuse me, is how we are keeping the produce fresh and frozen. And like frozen fruits and vegetables, they require very specific packaging to prevent from freezer burn, all the way into the maintaining the texture of the fruits and vegetables itself. And so on the other hand, we have fresh produce that might come when it's with its own set of challenges, with that type of aspect. Like how is it transported without losing the quality? Or, we kind of hit this before, but getting damaged along the way. And that's where I say, oh man, the fresh versus frozen doesn't really have that aspect.
Right.
And so that's where frozen has its own challenges too. But realistically, whenever I'm looking at frozen, that's what I kind of pay attention to. That's what goes through my mind whenever I'm getting these types of stuff. And is there any questions so far on that? I don't want to hit too.
No, that that's all hitting home. And another thing that I know you kind of touched on earlier is the year-round availability. Like if it weren't for frozen, you would never have corn in December.
Yep.
Or so like there's growth season, there's harvest season, and then there's the winter, and that's some of the busiest time for us in the flex pack department because we do so much in frozen, and that's when the demand for frozen goes up because there isn't a fresh alternative at that point, right? You're kind of forced in that direction. It's like, well, if I want corn and it's January, it's going to be frozen because there's no corn being harvested right now. So that's a great point. And yeah, you keep going down that road of, if you buy 32 ounces of fresh bananas and 32 ounces of frozen bananas, if the costs were identical, but the fact that you're taking 10 of those 32 ounces of the fresh and just throwing them in the trash, then your cost goes way up per unit,
Yeah.
So it's a huge problem with food waste. And there's these things that are often referred to called food deserts, right? We have food readily available to us because we live in urban or suburban environments where there's a grocery store like every 100 feet, but that's not worldwide. That's not even US wide. So there's these food deserts where food is hard to come by. You're living in a really rural area. And then frozen is a great option for you.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back and forth to the store to get fresh on a regular basis because the store's an hour and a half away, So you buy and you stock up on that and then you're good. Same thing with like power outages and stuff, or if we get a hurricane and all that frozen fruits and vegetables are in my coffin freezer and then I'm running a Jenny to it, or what we usually do is when the hurricane's coming is we throw a bunch of bottled water in there because the bottled water ends up just being massive ice cubes, and as long as you keep that coffin freezer closed for a long time, it'll keep that food forever and a day, right? So there's no power, you can't get to a grocery store, but you know what, I've got a ton of food. I got a bunch of propane tanks for my grill, which is right over there. So I can cook and survive for weeks and weeks on end without having to go to a produce stand.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then the thing too, I wanted to emphasize what you're talking about there was, you're saving time, money, without sacrificing the quality of your food. And like you said, even during the hurricanes and stuff like that, that's one less thing to stress about, especially during a time during that time is, man, my food is going to go bad. We're not going to have anything to eat. We can't get out. No, I have frozen fresh, or frozen fruits and vegetables, excuse me. And that's going to last you up to 2 years and still hold on to the nutrient density. So you're going to be just fine. And it's a great feeling.
Yeah, yeah. Food supply and water supply are the two most important things in any type of natural disaster like that, right? So the first thing you're plugging into your Jenny is your fridge and your freezer. And then you're like, okay, I don't care if I don't have lights. I've got candles. Everything else you can kind of live without. But if you don't have water, what is it? It's the rules of 3. It's like 3 minutes without air, you die. 3 days without water, you die. 3 weeks without food, you die, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you have air. That's usually not a problem unless you're underwater. But you have to have fresh water in 3 days, and you have to have food for 3 weeks, so that's with a good setup and a good combination of frozen fruits and vegetables in your freezer, you can go a long time.
Absolutely. And so that kind of brings me to the topic of so fresh or frozen, there's no one size that fits all answer, really. I really think that having a good variety of both is very lucrative for either sources. Frozen, you have longevity, and you have things that you can plan for longer down the road, farther down the road, versus fresh, still very nutrient dense. Just have it for a shorter period of time, unfortunately. So,
yeah. And like you said, like if you have something that's a regular part of your day, like a smoothie, why would you be taking fresh and then basically mixing it with ice into a cold smoothie? It's like it actually makes your smoothies require less ice, right? And stay colder longer because your ingredients are already frozen. So that's a no-brainer. And like I said, on the convenience side, those days where everything goes sideways in your family and you're like, I don't have time to cook. I'm just throwing, one of these steam medleys in the microwave for 5 minutes, and it's got a ton of nutrients still in it. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And at the same time, if you want to buy your own corn and your own cauliflower and your own carrots, slice them up and make your own California blend, by all means do it.
By all means.
But I'm not doing that.
And so realistically, the take-home message here is, at the end of the day, frozen fruits and vegetables are convenient and cost-effective alternatives.
Okay. Well, yeah, we kind of take it as it comes. So, if we have time to go to the grocery store and we know we have a meal planned, then that's when we usually buy fresh. To your point, right? You don't just buy fresh and you're like, maybe I'll come up with a recipe for that later on. You better have a plan for fresh, because your window is going to shut pretty quickly. So it's like, I have a specific ingredient list. This is what I'm making for today, and then I'm going to make this tomorrow. And then maybe you go in the grocery every other day. But think about the energy and the time wasted by having to constantly go and harvest that, where from the grocery buy it from the grocery store, where you buy frozen in bulk and you're good. You're not going back and forth. You're good for a while. Yeah,
I agree. And speaking to the audience here, let us know what you think, or do you choose fresh or do you choose frozen? Let's kind of hear what your thoughts are on this, and how does it impact your packaging choices? We want to hear some feedback from you guys, and we're very excited about this episode. This was fun.
Yeah. Thanks for your expertise on that. Jeff he treats his body like a temple. I am not as good as he is about that. So that's why he took the lead today, because I sometimes run my body through the mud. But I try to eat healthy 99% of the time, but it doesn't always happen.
Hey, pineapple on pizza is pretty healthy, if you ask me.
It's probably the healthiest part of the pizza. No doubt.
Yeah. That's
all
great.
Right, bud. Well, thank you. Oh, this is, if you enjoyed this or any of our past ones, hit the like button. Please subscribe. Give us, future topic ideas in the comments. Let us know what we could do better. Let us know what we did wrong. We want your feedback. We want your engagement. So please jump on it and tell your friends.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for that, Tom. And to all you guys out there, I hope you guys have a good day. We appreciate every single one of you. And we'll see you guys at the next episode.
Yeah, see you soon.